virtual tour of the Boston College Law Library for undergraduate students taking environmental law at BC. The Law Library is not open to undergraduates as a study space, but before the pandemic, some friends of mine, with a strong interest in environmental law, were given a tour of the Law Library. As visitors, they were asked to sign in at the guard desk before being allowed to enter the Law Library proper. As they walked through the security gates, they were careful not to bump into the posts, since that can set off the book theft alarm. Not sure where to go, they went to the information desk to ask for help, which is strongly encouraged when you don't know how to find something. There they were shown how to access the library catalog through the Law Library homepage. They looked for books by their friend, Professor Zygmunt Plotter, and found some of their favorites, including The Snail Darter and the Dam, and their Environmental Law and Policy Casebook. They noticed that the University Library keeps a single online catalog that shows the holdings of all the libraries in the University Library system. Search results can be filtered by library. The catalog also links to electronic materials subscribed to by the various BC libraries and can be accessed from anywhere. My friends were anxious to see an important environmental law case in its native environment. They walked through rows of case reports until they found a set called the Northeastern Reporter. On the library's third floor, they located volume 257 of the Northeastern Reporter second series. There was a volume 257 that didn't have a second on the spine, but that volume contained much older cases. Once they had the correct volume, they turned to page 870 and found Boomer versus Atlantic Cement Company. There's another version of this decision in volume 26 of the New York Reports second series, starting on page 219, which is on the library's fourth floor. This case can also be found on a number of electronic platforms, including Google Scholar. My friends decided to look for statutes next. They found a set of books called the U.S. Code Annotated, also on level 3 of the Law Library. They found the volume that included Title 42, sections 7401 to 7499, which contains some of the federal statutes on air pollution prevention and control, as well as references to many cases interpreting those statutes. The statutes themselves are available on the free web at a number of websites, but to find annotations, that is, references to cases interpreting the statutes, they need to use an electronic research service like Westlaw, Lexis, or Bloomberg Law, which the law students have access to, or Nexus Uni, the system that BC undergraduates have access to. The annotated code on Nexus Uni is the U.S. Code Service, which contains the same statutory text and annotations that law students will find on Lexis. Having found important environmental cases and statutes, my friends decided it was time to find federal regulations, which are also on level 3 of the Law Library. What better regulation to read than 50 CFR, section 1711, the Threatened and Endangered Species list for animals. Threatened and endangered plants are listed in 50 CFR, section 17.12. The lists themselves are giant charts that include information about the animals, where they can be found, their habitat and status. Because animals can have their habitat changed or their status changed as threatened or endangered, this paper list is often very out of date. Even the electronic version of the CFR at ecfr.gov has trouble keeping current with all its amendments. The Fish and Wildlife Service keeps an electronic version of the endangered species list that you can search or browse. My friends wanted to see one of their favorite publications the way it used to look. The Environmental Law Reporter is no longer published in paper, but it used to look like this. Today, law students access it in its native interface through a link on the Law Library database page. Undergraduates can access the same material, minus the pretty pictures, through Nexus Uni. My friends went down to level 1 of the Law Library to check out our collection of law reviews. More recent law reviews are in the open stacks, while older volumes are in the compact movable stacks. All are shelved alphabetically by journal title. In the compact shelving, they found this Symposium on Boomer from 1990. Today's law students, and undergraduates as well, can access law reviews through Hein Online. The easiest way to pull up a law review article is to type its citation in the universal search box, click Citation Search, and then click the search icon. You'll get a PDF image exactly like the page as it is in the volume in the Law Library shelves. As a special treat, my friends took a tour of the Daniel Arcola Rare Book Room. The fireplace and mirror that you see came to BC from the White House following a renovation when Tip O'Neill was Speaker of the House. My friends learned that their BC IDs operate as library cards in the BC system, so they decided to try to check out a book. Unfortunately, the one they tried to check out is not a circulating book and was just a little too large for them to carry. Luckily for them, the data in that book is available online, and undergrads can request that circulating books from the law library be checked out to them and sent to O'Neill Library for pickup. No penguins were harmed in the filming of this video.